International Space Research Experiments.
Houston now controlling the flight of Columbia.
Spaceship expert Justin Kuehl live on the scene. Breaking news. As of February 1st, 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated upon re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, tragically killing all 7 crew members. On board, a crew of 7. Colonel Rick Husband, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Anderson, Commander Laurel Clark, Captain David Brown, Commander William McCool, Dr. Kaplan Chawla, and Ian Ramon, a colonel in the Israeli Air Force. Our thoughts, prayers, and deepest condolences are with their families. We will continue to keep you all abreast as we learn more about the situation, what went wrong, and how we can prevent this in the future. I've just received word that President Bush is going to address the nation. We are headed there now.
My fellow Americans, this day has brought terrible news and great sadness to our country. At 9 a.m. this morning, Mission Control in Houston lost contact with our Space Shuttle Columbia. A short time later, debris was seen falling from the skies above Texas. The Columbia is lost. There are no survivors. The men and women of the Columbia Shuttle assumed great risk in their service to all humanity. In an age when spaceflight has come to seem almost routine, it is easy to overlook the dangers of travel by rocket and the difficulties of navigating the fierce outer atmosphere of the Earth. These astronauts knew the dangers. They faced them willingly, and knowingly they had a high and noble purpose in life. The cause of exploration and discovery is not an option we choose. It is a desire written in the human heart. We are that part of creation which seeks to understand all creation. We find the best among us, send them forth into unmapped darkness, and pray they will return. They go in peace for all mankind, and all mankind is in their debt. All Americans today are thinking of the families of these men and women who have given this sudden shock and grief. You are not alone. Our entire nation grieves with you. And those you loved will always have the respect and gratitude of this country. I've always had great faith in and respect for our space program, and what happened today does nothing to diminish it. We don't hide our space program. We don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public. That's the way freedom is, and we wouldn't change it for a damn minute. Therefore, I am creating an executive task force to investigate the events of today. We will find the answers that the American people deserve, and until their investigation is complete, all non-essential projects at NASA will be halted. It is my honor to announce Grace as the head of the task force, and will now turn it over to her for further information regarding the task force. I have complete faith in her ability to find the answers our country so desperately needs. God bless America.
Good evening. Thank you, President Bush. I would like to echo what the President said. As the head of the Executive Task Force investigating this tragedy, I want to assure you that we will not stop until we know what truly happened to the 7 heroes we lost today. We plan on doing a full investigation into the days leading up to the Space Shuttle's launch, including all written logs, emails, and reports pertinent to the Space Shuttle's launch, journey, and attempted reentry. We will review current safety protocols and examine what, if anything, was known prior to reentry that could have impacted the outcome of today. We are also working with the FBI and several on-site astronauts, along with disaster relief help from FEMA, to set out search parties all throughout the areas where debris is most likely to be found. This group is diligently looking for all missing parts of the aircraft in order to piece together exactly what went wrong during reentry. We will also continue searching for the remains of our astronauts that we lost in the crash. Our overall goal is to be able to help prevent a tragedy like this from happening again by providing recommendations to NASA based on our findings. As soon as we are finished with our investigation, we will report our findings. After our extensive investigation, we have found concrete evidence of what led to the Columbia disaster. I will now turn it over to Mary for further explanation.
Thanks, Grace. During takeoff, a large chunk of insulating foam fell off the external tank of the shuttle and struck the orbiter's left wing. The belief at the time was that that foam piece was abnormally large, but this was difficult to confirm due to the lack of video cameras. NASA had reduced the camera staff and kept poorly maintained cameras due to the budget cuts at the hand of Congress. These cameras would have been imperative to the decision-making process of what to do because they would have been able to provide high-resolution pictures in numerous angles of the strike. Our analysis has found that the Columbia was doomed from the moment it took off. The collision that struck the orbiter's left wing tore a hole in it and prevented Columbia from withstanding the scorching heat of re-entry. This incident is not the first time foam has fallen off and struck a shuttle. This has been a known problem, yet nothing had been done to prevent this. Sarah will further discuss why nothing has been done.
Thank you, Mary. The primary reason this problem has never been addressed is a result of NASA's organizational culture. Due to stress because of funding cuts, there's an overall push in the organization to expedite launches and landings in order to show that the funds are being used towards technological progress and aerospace advancement. This has led to a trend of ignoring mistakes just so NASA can have tangible reports and results. This disaster is a direct result of this careless and hasty attitude. The transition toward bettering the organization's culture is already in the process of being implemented due to the administrative changes being made by Sean O'Keefe, who was just appointed by President Bush in December of 2001. While Mr. O'Keefe had not yet made significant changes before the incident, he was in the process of removing senior leaders from several departments who had been the root of these issues with the communication throughout NASA. In many of the problems analyzed, which resulted in this disaster, these senior leaders were at the forefront of the major flaws. We have recommended that Mr. O'Keefe move forward with the evaluation of the senior leaders and the dismissal of them based on their discretion. Back to Mary to delve into the communicative issues within the organization.
Thank you. The lack of communication has led to many issues within NASA, of which include who held the authority deciding whether NASA utilized the resources offered by the FBI. After gathering all of the evidence we have at hand, we have come to the understanding that the Department of Defense had reached out with the opportunity to utilize their spy cameras to analyze and assess the damage done to the wing during liftoff. After a series of discussions, Linda Ham, the flight manager for the Columbia mission, decided against the offer from the DoD or for any further actions to attempt a repair and continued on with the mission. As the technical assistant of the program, Linda led the managerial meetings dealing with shuttle departure. As a special task force for this incident, we advise that further action is taken against Ms. Ham due to the decisions made during many of these critical meetings. NASA administration will make further decisions based on these recommendations. The lack of distinct precedent and authority then led to problems with the shuttle being looked over and avoidable problems being missed.
After fixing the communication issues, NASA needs to update its safety protocols and safety instruments. First, we found that NASA is not allotting enough time for the crew to prepare for their descent. In the Columbia mission, the astronauts had approximately 60 seconds to put on all of their safety gear, which is not nearly enough time. Additionally, we recommend that NASA creates a safety engineering center and a chief safety officer for space shuttles to ensure that safety is truly a top priority in the organization. Also, we found that the safety harnesses need to be re-engineered as there are serious flaws in their design that can lead to unnecessary injuries to the astronauts. We recommend that NASA partner with aerospace manufacturers such as Boeing or Lockheed Martin to develop best practices for supportive seats and accommodating harnesses. These organizations can provide each other with complementing research, thus benefiting both parties. Back to Mary.
The Columbia disaster was the first space accident that posed a threat to the general public. It was by pure chance that Columbia's debris had fallen over sparsely populated regions of Texas. The accident warranted NASA to begin to include public risk accessibility criteria for all launches and re-entries. We recommend that NASA work with the Federal Aviation Administration to develop a real-time mishap response system to alert aircraft and rapidly clear potential threatened airspace during subsequent shuttle re-entries. One of our final recommendations is that NASA should complete the International Space Station and then retire the orbiter fleet and, assuming cooperation, fly their astronauts on the Russian Soyuz until a new fleet of spacecraft is available. Finally, we believe that our memorial should be established in recognition of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
The task force makes it clear that these recommendations will not be able to be implemented overnight, nor will they be able to bring back those lives that have already been dearly lost. We firmly believe that the best way to honor those who have not made it back is to ensure that these changes take place to prevent further loss.